Jade stood frozen in front of the open closet, her heart pounding like a war drum in her chest. The rows of dresses hung there like silent soldiers, each one a reminder of the woman she used to be and the one she had become. Her hand hovered instinctively toward the dark blue one, the safe choice, the one that screamed modesty and reliability. It was knee-length, high-necked, the kind of dress that blended into the background at family gatherings or office parties. The kind that said, "I'm a wife, a mother, nothing more." But tonight was different. Tonight she felt a fire igniting deep within her, a spark of defiance that had been smoldering for months. At the last second, her fingers veered away from the blue and snatched the fiery red off the shoulder dress, the one Marcus had always called lethal. It hugged her curves in a way that made her feel alive, dangerous even. She slipped it on, the fabric whispering against her skin like a secret promise. Staring at her reflection in the full-length mirror, Jade saw a woman ready for battle. Her gray eyes flashed with determination, her dark hair cascading in waves over her bare shoulders. Tonight, she wasn't just going to Tiffany's birthday party. She was going to war, and she intended to win. "Are you seriously going to wear that?" Marcus's voice cut through the air from the bedroom doorway, laced with a mix of admiration and apprehension. He was fastening his watch, his broad shoulders filling the frame, his dark hair still damp from the shower. At 38, he was as handsome as the day she'd met him. But there were lines around his eyes now, lines from laughter, from stress, from the weight of their shared life. Jade turned, raising an eyebrow, her pulse quickening. "What, don't you like it?" "I do," he admitted, his gaze lingering a beat too long on the way the dress accentuated her figure. It's Tiffany's birthday. It's supposed to be a casual get-together with friends." "Friends?" Jade mocked, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she smoothed the dress over her hips. The word tasted bitter on her tongue. "Marcus, we both know that thing with your childhood pal is way more than just friendship. She's latched onto you like a tick." "Jade, don't start," Marcus said wearily, rubbing the bridge of his nose, a gesture she knew all too well, the one he used when he wanted to avoid an argument. His blue eyes, usually so steady, flickered with fatigue. "Don't start?" Jade spun around, her gray eyes flashing like storm clouds. "A long time? You hadn't seen each other in 20 years. 20! And then 6 months ago, she shows up out of nowhere? Now Tiffany is everywhere. Honey, let's grab coffee. Babe, help me pick out a new phone. Mark, my faucet is leaking. You're so handy with plumbing." "I'm just helping a person who's going through a divorce," Marcus protested, his voice rising slightly, though he kept it controlled. He stepped closer, his cologne, a familiar mix of sandalwood and citrus, wafting toward her. "The divorce was 2 years ago, Marcus. 2 years. She's long since recovered, and now she's methodically wrapping her sticky tentacles around my husband." Marcus sighed deeply, his shoulders slumping. He reached out, as if to touch her arm, but she pulled away, the rejection stinging them both. A heavy silence fell between them, thick and suffocating, like the air before a thunderstorm. Jade turned back to the mirror, her hands trembling as she applied her makeup, eyeliner sharp as a blade, lipstick a bold crimson to match the dress. Inside, her emotions churned, anger at Tiffany's blatant intrusion, hurt at Marcus's obliviousness, fear that their 14 years of marriage were unraveling like a frayed thread. 14 years. 2 kids, Noah, their thoughtful 11-year-old, and Skylar, their bubbly 7-year-old. A mortgage on their cozy suburban home, a joint business they ran together designing custom furniture, mutual friends who saw them as the perfect couple. Their lives were so intertwined, like vines grown together over time. And now, in walked Tiffany, with her big blue eyes, her feigned helplessness, her "I'm so lonely after the divorce" routine. It made her blood boil. She vividly remembered their first meeting 3 months ago. Marcus had insisted on inviting Tiffany over for dinner. "Meet her," he said with that boyish enthusiasm she used to love. "I promise you'll love talking to each other." She pictured a frumpy housewife, perhaps a stressed-out career woman in sensible shoes. Instead, the doorbell rang, and there stood a tall blonde with a model's figure, dressed in designer jeans and a soft cashmere sweater that screamed effortless elegance. "Oh, Janess!" Tiffany had beamed, rushing forward to hug her like an old friend. Her perfume, something floral and expensive, enveloping Jade in a cloud. "I'm so happy to finally meet you. Marcus has told me so much about you." Mark. From the very first minute, she called him Mark. In all their years together, Jade had never heard anyone call him that. Even his mother called him Marcus. The dinner had been torture. Tiffany gazed at Marcus with those wet, doe-like eyes, reminiscing about their childhood. "Remember when we snuck into that abandoned house and how you protected me from the bullies in 7th grade?" Marcus had remembered, smiling that special, soft, warm smile, the one Jade thought was reserved for her alone. Jade had sat there, feeling like an extra in someone else's romantic comedy, her pasta growing cold on her plate as she forced smiles and polite nods. After that night, Tiffany became a fixture in their lives. She accidentally ran into Marcus at the local grocery store, turned up at their favorite brunch cafe on weekends, called at the most inconvenient times with emergencies. And Marcus? He either didn't notice or pretended not to. It gnawed at Jade, a constant ache in her chest, like a splinter she couldn't remove. "Mom, why are you so pretty?" A small voice pulled Jade from her reverie. 7-year-old Skylar poked her sleepy head into the bedroom, her pigtails askew, her favorite stuffed rabbit dangling from one hand. Jade's heart melted at the sight. She knelt beside her daughter, pulling her into a hug. "Sweetheart, you should be asleep. Grandma is here to stay with you." "Are you going to Aunt Tiff's party?" Skylar asked innocently, her big brown eyes wide. Jade winced inwardly at Aunt Tiff. Another conquest. Tiffany had wormed her way into the kids' hearts too, with gifts, birthday remembers, and feigned interest in their activities. It was the perfect tactic, making Jade feel like the villain for resenting it. "Yes, sweetie, it's her birthday." "Why does she always come alone, though? Doesn't she have any kids of her own?" From the hallway, Marcus's voice called out, "Skylar, go to Grandma or your ice cream will melt." The girl squealed happily and scampered off, her little feet pattering on the hardwood floor. Jade slowly stood, smoothing her dress one last time. In the mirror, a beautiful woman with tired eyes stared back. The lines around her own eyes spoke of sleepless nights, worrying about bills, kids' school projects, and now this insidious threat to her marriage. "Jade," Marcus came up behind her, placing his hands on her shoulders. His touch was familiar yet distant, like a memory fading. "Let's not ruin the evening. Tiffany is just an old acquaintance, nothing more." "Do you even believe that yourself?" Jade asked, meeting his reflection's gaze. Her voice was steady, but inside, doubt swirled like a storm. "I believe in us," he replied, turning her to face him. "In you and me, in our family." Jade wanted to believe those words. She wanted to feel the conviction in his touch, the reassurance that their love was unbreakable. But something inside her tightened into a knot of fear and resentment. She saw how he looked at Tiffany, not with lust, not with hunger, but with nostalgia, dreamy, as if Tiffany were a portal to a simpler past when he was young, free, and full of unbridled hope.
"It's time to go," Jade said, stepping out of his embrace before the knot could unravel her completely. In the living room, they were met by Marcus's mother, Miss Vivian Reed. The thin, severe woman with cool blue eyes gave Jade an appraising look, her lips pursed in that judgmental way she had perfected over 65 years. "Red dress," she drawled, her voice like gravel. "A bold choice. Is tonight special?" "It is," Jade replied with a strained smile. "It's that Tiffany's birthday." Miss Vivian pressed her lips together tighter, her disapproval evident. "Marcus, I don't understand why you bother with that woman. You have a family." "Mom, please," Marcus grabbed the car keys, his tone exasperated. "It's just friendship." "Friendship?" Miss Vivian scoffed, her eyes narrowing. "I've lived 65 years and I know what friendship looks like, and I know what hunting looks like too." Jade felt an unexpected surge of gratitude toward her mother-in-law. They usually clashed. Miss Vivian's sharp tongue often cut too deep, but tonight at least someone was on her side. It was a small comfort in the brewing storm. In the car, Marcus turned on the radio, filling the silence with upbeat pop music that felt mocking in its cheerfulness. Jade stared out the window at the streets gliding by, the evening light casting long shadows. The air was warm, a late May promise of summer. People walked in pairs, laughing, embracing, reminders of what she and Marcus used to be, in love, happy, certain of their future. When had that changed? The question gnawed at her, a persistent ache. "What are you thinking about?" Marcus asked, glancing over. "When everything changed," Jade answered, honestly, her voice barely above a whisper. He didn't ask what she meant. That meant he understood. The realization hung between them like an unspoken accusation. The restaurant was downtown, on the rooftop of a historic loft building. Panoramic windows offered a stunning view of the evening city, lights beginning to flicker on one by one like stars awakening. Marcus offered Jade his hand as she stepped out of the car, a gentlemanly gesture that once made her heart flutter. Now it felt obligatory. She noticed him straighten his tie, checking his reflection in the glass door. He was nervous to see Tiffany. The thought twisted like a knife in her gut. The elevator ride to the top floor was silent, tension building with every passing floor. Jade clutched her purse, a small, elegant thing that held her phone, lipstick, and the fierce resolve to not let this woman destroy her marriage. The doors opened, and they stepped into the restaurant. The room was about 1/3 full, around 30 guests mingling under soft music and muted lighting. Laughter floated in the air, glasses clinked, but to Jade, it all felt like a facade. And there in the center, shining like a star in the night sky, stood Tiffany. She was in a white dress, of course, a symbol of innocence and purity that made Jade's red feel like a declaration of war. Her blonde hair was pulled up in a messy bun, strands escaping artfully. Minimal makeup enhanced her natural beauty, making her look effortlessly radiant. When she spotted Marcus, her face lit up with such unbridled joy that Jade felt nauseous, a wave of jealousy crashing over her.
"Mark!" Tiffany rushed toward them, her heels clicking on the polished floor. She hugged Marcus too long, her body pressing against his in a way that screamed intimacy. Jade stood there, invisible, her fists clenched at her sides. "Happy birthday, Tiffany," Marcus said, handing her a bouquet of peonies. "Oh my God, you remembered they're my favorite flowers." She pressed the bouquet to her chest, her blue eyes welling up with tears that looked suspiciously staged. "Thank you. You've always been so thoughtful." Peonies. Her favorite flowers. Jade noted it mentally, a sharp pang of betrayal hitting her. She hadn't known that. Marcus hadn't told her he'd just bought them. The realization fueled her anger, making her cheeks flush. "Jadness." Tiffany finally deigned to acknowledge her, her tone saccharine. "What a dress. You look loud." The word loud was loaded, vulgar, inappropriate, trying too hard. Jade forced a smile, her teeth gritted. "Thank you.
I decided not to blend in with the decor. They were led to their tables. Tiffany, of course, sat Marcus right next to her. Jade ended up one seat over, next to one of Tiffany's colleagues, a heavy-set woman in her 50s who immediately launched into a monologue about her boss. Jade nodded mechanically, her focus glued to the pair at the end of the table. All evening she watched them. Tiffany leaned in toward Marcus, whispering something in his ear, her breath probably warm on his skin. She laughed at his jokes, touched his hand lightly, brushed a non-existent lint off his blazer. And Marcus? He didn't stop her. He smiled, responded, dove into their shared memories with an enthusiasm that made Jade's heart ache. With every minute, a cold fury swelled within her, mixing with a deep, throbbing hurt. How could he not see what was happening? Or did he see and not care? Waiters passed appetizers, delicate bruschetta, cheese platters, glasses filled with sparkling champagne. The evening picked up pace, guests chatting animatedly, but Jade felt detached, like she was watching a movie of her own life falling apart. Her tablemate droned on. And I told her, this is the 7th report this month. How much more do you need? Her mind wandered, replaying moments from their marriage, their wedding day, Marcus's vows whispered with such sincerity, the birth of Noah, Marcus holding her hand through the pain, Skylar's first steps, both of them laughing as she toddled across the room. Those memories were her anchor, but now they felt like chains, weighing her down as she watched Tiffany throw her head back in laughter, exposing her long white neck. Marcus looked at her with an expression Jade hadn't seen in years, the look of a man unburdened by the weight of late 30s, mortgages, parent-teacher conferences, utility bills, and orthodontic appointments. "Excuse me." Jade abruptly stood, her chair scraping against the floor. The room spun slightly from the champagne and emotions. She walked slowly across the room, her back straight, heels clicking with purpose. Out of her corner of eye, she noticed Marcus's gaze follow her. Good. Let him watch. Let him remember he had a wife who could still turn heads, who was fighting for what was hers. In the restroom, Jade leaned against the sink, staring at her reflection. Her cheeks were flushed. Her eyes glittered with unshed tears. Or was it anger? She couldn't tell. Turning on the cold water, she wet her wrists, trying not to ruin her makeup. Pull yourself together, she thought. You can't make a scene. You can't show weakness, especially not here, surrounded by strangers in front of Tiffany, who was just waiting for her to crack. The door opened behind her, and Tiffany's reflection appeared in the mirror. Of course, like she could sense Jade's vulnerability. Jadness? Is everything okay? You left so suddenly. Everything's fine. Jade turned, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Just a little stuffy in the room. Yes, a lot of people showed up. I'm so happy Mark could come. He's been, well, you understand, such a rock for me right now. Jade felt something clench inside her, a vice of jealousy and rage. A rock? She asked, her tone dangerously level. Well, yes, Tiffany turned, her blue eyes wide with feigned innocence. After the divorce, I was so lost, I even thought, oh, it doesn't matter. But then I found Mark, and he's so thoughtful, so caring. He helped me move, helped with the repairs. He even went with me to pick out furniture. Can you imagine? We spent 3 hours at the showroom choosing a sofa. 3 hours. Marcus said he was stuck late at work that day. I remembered it vividly. Early March, I'd made his favorite dinner, waited until 7, but he hadn't returned until 10, tired and distracted, mumbling about an urgent project before heading to the shower. The lie hit him like a slap, tears pricking his eyes. I didn't know my husband was such a furniture specialist, Jade said, her voice hardening, sharpening like a blade. Oh, he's great at everything. Tiffany turned to the mirror, adjusting her dress with a casual flick. "And I think he enjoys helping, feeling needed, important. That probably gets lost in a marriage over time, doesn't it? All those daily hassles, kids, work, bills, you stop noticing each other." Jade took a step forward, and Tiffany involuntarily backed up, her back hitting the marble counter. The air between them crackled with tension, the restroom feeling too small, too confined for the storm brewing. "Listen to me carefully." Jade spoke softly, but each word was a blow, laced with years of built-up frustration and fear. "You see exactly what you're doing. All those chance meetings, the calls, the requests for help, your helplessness, your fragility, your big, sad eyes. You're hunting my husband." Tiffany feigned surprise, but a sly smile trembled at the corners of her mouth. "Jade, are you serious? We're just childhood friends, nothing more." Childhood friends who hadn't seen each other in 20 years. Jade cut in, her voice rising despite her control. "If you were looking for friendship, you'd be spending time with his wife too. You'd invite us both. You'd ask about our family. But you only want Marcus, alone, without me." Tiffany paused, her mask slipping. When she spoke again, there was no trace of softness. Her voice was cold, cutting. "Maybe it's not about me. Maybe it's that Mark is bored, that he misses the lightness, the joy he had in his youth. You turned him into a workhorse, house, kids, bills, obligations, and I remind him of a time when he was free. Happy." "He is happy," Jade wavered, doubt creeping in like poison. "He loves them," Tiffany agreed, her tone condescending. "But that doesn't make him happy. It makes him responsible. Those are two different things, Jade." They stood facing each other, two women locked in a silent battle for one man. The sparkling mirrors and marble sinks reflected their standoff, amplifying the drama. In that moment, amid the luxury, the fate of Jade's marriage hung in the balance, fragile as glass. "Marcus won't leave me," Jade said, though the words tasted like ash, her confidence crumbling. "We have 2 children, 14 years together. Do you know what keeps people in a marriage?" Tiffany tilted her head, observing Jade with cold curiosity, like an entomologist studying a rare insect. "Habit, fear of change, not wanting to hurt the kids, but not love. Love is what you had in the beginning, and then it dissolves into chores and arguments over who forgot to turn off the light or buy milk." "And what are you offering?" Jade crossed her arms across her chest, her nails digging into her skin to steady herself. "New love, fresh passion," Tiffany admitted honestly, no shame in her voice. "Do you think it will be any different with you in a year?"
"I don't know," she shrugged. "But at least we'll have this year. And what do you have? Memories of when things used to be good?" The restroom door opened, letting in a burst of music and voices. A young woman in her 20s, cheerful and slightly drunk, stumbled in, singing softly as she checked her reflection. The intrusion shattered the tension, but not the wound it had inflicted. Tiffany smiled softly at Jade, as if they'd been discussing the weather and not the destruction of a family. "Let's go. The guests are waiting," she said, heading for the exit with her head held high. Jade remained standing, her heart pounding like a trapped bird. Her hands shook. She squeezed them into fist, trying to regain control. Tiffany's words echoed in her mind, cutting deep because they held a kernel of truth. Had she turned their marriage into a routine? Had she forgotten to see Marcus as more than a provider? The questions swirled, mixing with her anger, creating a tornado of emotions that threatened to consume her. When Jade returned to the room, Marcus was sitting in the same spot, now talking to a middle-aged man, one of Tiffany's colleagues. Seeing his wife, he stood, concern etching his features. "Everything okay? You were gone a long time." "I'm fine."
Jade took a glass of champagne from the table and gulped it down, the cold bubbles tickling her throat, numbing the pain slightly. Jade. Marcus lowered his voice, leaning in. You're angry. I can tell. Really? She looked at him, her eyes blazing. And what is it you see, Marcus? I see you've been tense all evening. I see you're uncomfortable here. Uncomfortable. Jade snapped quietly, her voice a whisper hiss. I'm uncomfortable watching my rival circle my husband like a shark. I'm uncomfortable watching how you look at her. I'm looking at an old friend, Marcus began, but Jade interrupted, her words sharp as daggers. No, you're looking at her the way you once looked at me, like an opportunity, like something that could change your life. Marcus opened his mouth to object, but the words died on his lips, because it was the truth, and they both knew it. The realization hung between them, heavy and irreversible. Everyone, please take your seats. Tiffany's voice cut through the tension, bright and commanding. The cake is coming out now. The guests murmured, laughed, and shuffled back to their places. Jade and Marcus remained standing in the middle of the room, surrounded by other people's merriment. For the first time in 14 years, a chasm had opened between them, a chasm of doubt, hurt, and unspoken regrets. They were afraid to bridge it, afraid it might swallow them whole. Let's go, Jade said finally, her voice steady despite the turmoil inside. She was the first to walk toward the table, her head high, refusing to let the tears fall. The cake was a masterpiece, 3 tiers adorned with buttercream roses, a confectioner's dream. As the waiters brought it in to applause, Tiffany lit the candles. 38 of them, 1 for each year of her life. The flames danced, casting flickering shadows on her face. Make a wish, someone shouted from the crowd. Tiffany closed her eyes, but not before her gaze flicked toward Marcus. She smiled. That special, intimate smile meant only for him. Jade saw it, and in that moment, she realized disaster was imminent. The candles were blown out to unified applause, the cake cut into perfect triangular slices. Jade stared at her portion, tender sponge with strawberry cream topped with a sugar rose, and felt nausea rise. She couldn't eat. She couldn't pretend anymore, while this woman sat next to her husband, weaving her web. Friends. Tiffany stood, holding a champagne glass. The room fell silent, all eyes on her. Thank you for coming to share this evening with me. You are all so important to me. She scanned the guests, lingering on Marcus a moment longer than necessary, her eyes softening. This year has been difficult, she continued, dramatic notes creeping into her voice like an actress delivering a monologue. I've reevaluated a lot of things. I've learned a lot about myself, about what I want, and about who I truly care for. Jade gripped the edge of the tablecloth under the table, her knuckles white, the fabric crumpling in her palm. Her heart raced, a drumbeat of dread. Sometimes life brings people back to us. Tiffany's voice grew softer, more intimate, as if speaking to one person alone. Marcus sat motionless, his eyes fixed on Tiffany, his expression a mix of embarrassment and fascination, a dangerous cocktail. Jade couldn't breathe. The air felt thick, oppressive. So let's drink to not being afraid to follow our desires. Tiffany raised her glass. To being honest with ourselves, and to the people who make our lives brighter. The guests raised their glasses, shouting cheers and laughing. Someone joked about the lack of a groom. Another demanded that the birthday girl kiss the most handsome man in the room. Jade saw eyes turn toward Marcus, smiles widen, expectation hanging in the air like smoke. Come on, Tiffany, don't be shy, shouted the heavyset woman next to Jade. Pick him. Tiffany laughed, covering her mouth with her hand, a gesture meant to look bashful. But Jade saw the calculation in those blue eyes, the predator lurking beneath. She slowly circled the table, heading straight for their seats, the guests watching in anticipation. Jade stood up, suddenly, her chair rocking back. All eyes turned to her, the room falling into a tense silence. Her heart pounded, adrenaline surging through her veins like fire. "Excuse me, Tiffany," Jade said loudly, distinctly, her voice echoing in the quiet, "but the most handsome man here is my husband, and I am the only one who will be kissing him." The silence deepened, shock rippling through the guests. Tiffany stopped halfway, her face pale, her smile frozen. "Of course," she drew out the word after a pause, her voice strained. "It was just a game." "A game?" Jade repeated, her voice a challenge, trembling with emotion. "Yes, maybe to you. All of this is a game." The atmosphere grew awkward. Guests exchanging glances, someone clearing their throat nervously. Tiffany returned to her seat, her expression shifting, the mask of this sweet, vulnerable woman cracking, revealing something cold and calculated beneath. Jade sat back down, the adrenaline still coursing through her veins. She had crossed a line, made a scene at someone else's party, exposed her jealousy for all to see. But remaining silent had been impossible. One more moment and she would have exploded, her emotions erupting like a volcano long dormant. "Jade," Marcus leaned in, his voice low, urgent. "Why did you do that?" "Why?" She turned to him, her eyes blazing with a mix of anger and heartbreak. "Are you seriously asking me that? Did you see what she was doing all evening? She was just having fun at her birthday party." "And you made a scene," Marcus whispered, glancing around to ensure no one heard. "I made a scene?" Jade felt something snap inside her, a dam breaking. "Marcus, she openly told everyone she wants to take back what she lost years ago. She was talking about you to me in front of all these people." "You're exaggerating," but there was no confidence in his voice, only defensiveness. "No?" Jade shook her head, tears threatening. "I finally see the situation for what it is, and you are deliberately closing your eyes to it." Marcus remained silent, his fingers clenching around the glass stem. Jade knew the sign. He was angry, restraining himself. He always did that in public. "I think I need some air," he said, standing. "Of course," Jade leaned back. "Run. That's what you do best." Marcus froze, looked at her with pain in his eyes, then headed for the exit. Jade watched him go, her heart in her throat. Then she saw Tiffany, finished with photos, move toward the exit too. Unnoticed by others, but not by her. No, not this. Jade stood, but her table mate stopped her. "Honey, is everything all right? Did you and your husband have a fight?" "Everything is wonderful." Jade forced a smile. She walked around the woman, heading for the exit, her heart pounding, palms sweaty. What were they doing? What were they saying? Eavesdropping was low, but she needed the truth, no matter how bitter. The exit led to a small corridor with panoramic windows overlooking the night city, a scatter of lights, silhouettes of buildings, distant neon glow. Marcus and Tiffany stood by the window. She spoke, head bowed, he listened, gazing into the distance. Then Tiffany stepped closer, placed a hand on his shoulder. Marcus froze, but didn't pull away.
Jade's world shattered. She stood a few feet away, hidden in the dim light, watching her marriage crumble. This woman touching her husband, him allowing it. It was betrayal, plain and simple. Tears streamed down her face, silent and hot. They stood too close, in that intimate proximity of lovers. "Mark," Tiffany's voice was soft, enveloping. "I see how much pain you're in. You don't have to tolerate what makes you unhappy." "Jade doesn't make me unhappy," Marcus objected, but weakly. "Maybe not her," Tiffany agreed, "but your marriage does. The routine, the obligations, you see it yourself. There hasn't been a spark between you two for a long time." Jade clenched her fists, wanting to burst in, scream, but her feet were rooted. The words cut deep, exposing the rot in their relationship. Jade spun away, returning to the room. She wouldn't watch from shadows. Grabbing her purse, she headed for the coat check, hands trembling as she put on her jacket. "Jadeness, are you leaving already?"
Tiffany appeared, feigned sympathy on her face. "So early?" "No, late. It's already late enough for many things." Marcus appeared behind her, disheveled, eyes red. "Jade, where are you going? I told you I'm driving." "Then stay." Jade turned, her gaze cold. "Tiffany offered a place to sleep. Take advantage." "What?" Marcus frowned. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about being tired of being the third wheel in my own marriage. Tired of pretending I don't see how you look at her, how she touches your shoulder and you don't pull away." "Jade, God, no, we were just talking." "Talking?" "You know, Marcus, there are different kinds of infidelity, not just physical, emotional. When you share with another woman what you should share with your wife, you've already cheated. You just haven't slept with her yet." Tiffany watched with satisfaction, a smile playing on her lips. She was winning. "Jadeness, no need for drama." Tiffany intervened softly. "We're all adults. Sometimes feelings just happen." "Feelings don't just happen." Jade turned, fire in her eyes. "They are grown. You methodically destroyed my marriage, the calls, meetings, helplessness, and he fell for it because men love feeling like heroes." "And what did you offer him?" Tiffany tilted her head. "Criticism about forgotten milk, complaints about being late. You turned him into a function, a provider, father, husband, but forgot he's a man who needs attention." The words hit home. There was truth in them. When had Jade last asked about his dreams, not just work? "Jade, let's go home." Marcus took her elbow. "We'll talk calmly." "No." She pulled away. "I'm going alone. You need to decide, Marcus. Who are you with? Your family or this memory of your youth?" Her phone vibrated. The ride was 2 minutes away. Jade walked out, the warm May air smelling of blooming dogwood and distant rain. The city pulsed with life, laughter from parties, cars whizzing by, traffic lights blinking. Jade stood on the sidewalk, feeling her world collapse. A white car pulled up, the driver nodding sleepily. Jade gave the address, leaned back, closing her eyes. Behind her lids, the image of Tiffany and Marcus by the window haunted her. "Rough night?" the driver asked, glancing in the mirror. "You could say that." Jade opened her eyes, watching lights flicker past. "A woman in a red dress alone at night, that's either a good ending or a bad one," he noted philosophically. "The second one." Jade's smile was crooked. They drove through downtown, past illuminated storefronts, bars spilling music, 24-hour cafes with night owls. Jade looked at the city she'd called home for 14 years, feeling like she was saying goodbye. Her phone buzzed. "Marcus." She declined. A text. "Jade, please talk. I'm coming to get you." "Don't bother," she texted. "I need time to think." The house was dark. Only the hall nightlight glowing. Jade removed her shoes, blistered feet from the heels, and padded to the kitchen. Miss Vivian slept on the sofa, an unfinished tea on the table. Jade didn't wake her. Explaining was beyond her. In the kitchen, she poured water, sat at the table. This apartment held her best years. Noah smearing chocolate, Skylar demanding to see the moon, planning renovations with Marcus, laughing at jokes. When had it changed? The changes were slow, like rust. The door slammed. Marcus. He spoke low to his mother, then steps to the kitchen. He stood in the doorway, ruffled, tired, collar unbuttoned. They looked at each other, the gaze holding years, children, shared life, and the chasm. Mom asked what happened. I told her we argued. "We didn't argue." Jade set the glass down. "People argue over small things. We are standing on the edge." "The edge of what?" "Divorce," Jade said simply. The word hung heavy. Marcus paled, grabbing the doorframe. Divorce? Jade, are you serious? What do you think this will end in? Jade paced, tension demanding release. You're in love with another woman. Maybe not admitting it, but I see it. I'm not in love. He closed the door. God, Jade, there's nothing between Tiffany and me. Not yet, Jade clarified. But you want there to be. I saw how you looked at her, how she came alive. Marcus sank into a chair, hands on face. Maybe you're right. Maybe I am looking for something. The feeling that life isn't over, that there's still something besides work and bills. Then go to her, Jade said calmly, though it tore her apart. If you're so miserable, go. Free yourself. Jade, no. The truth? He looked up. I didn't want things to turn out this way. I know. No one does, but it happens. He left the kitchen, the bedroom door closing. Jade stood by the window, looking at the dark city, thinking how life's surprises. Yesterday, she was sure of her marriage. Tonight, on the brink of divorce. Morning came too quickly. Jade hadn't slept, lying on the sofa under the throw. The house woke, Miss Vivian putting on the kettle. Jade pretended sleep. Then the children. Noah scratching his stomach, Skylar with disheveled pigtails. Mom, why are you here? Skylar saw her. We got back late. Didn't want to wake Dad. How was the party? Miss Vivian asked with coffee. Fine. Fun. Jade lied. Miss Vivian's gaze was assessing. She didn't believe it. Marcus came out last, dressed but exhausted, dark circles. Good morning. He ruffled Noah's hair, kissed Skylar. He avoided Jade's eyes. Dad, park today? Skylar asked. Rollerblading. Not today, Princess. Dad has things to do. Always things, Noah mumbled. After breakfast, children to rooms, Marcus packed a bag. Jade watched silently. I'm renting a place for a few days. Need to think. Fine. Jade, he stumbled. I didn't want this. I know. He left. Jade closed the door, leaned against it, eyes closed. It had begun, her life crumbling. Jadeness. Miss Vivian approached, hand on shoulder. What happened? Jade burst into tears, allowing weakness. Miss Vivian hugged her. Two women trying to mend what one man broke. An hour later, Jade sat in a cafe with Chloe, her college friend. They needed to talk, away from Miss Vivian and kids. Chloe listened, face grim. That snake, classic homewrecker. It's not just her. It's Marcus and me. We lost each other between conferences and groceries. Then find each other. Chloe leaned in. 14 years isn't nothing. I'm not throwing it away. He's doubting. Chloe divorced 3 years ago. Understood. Shake things up. You've been only mom and wife. Where's Jade? The girl who danced all night, read poetry on roofs, dreamed of a design studio. Jade winced. She grew up. Or died? When did you last do something for yourself? I don't remember. See, you became invisible. To him, to yourself. Wonder why he looks elsewhere. The words hurt, but true. Jade had dissolved into motherhood, stopped bright lipstick, heels, laughter. What now? Gym? Hairstyle? Wait for him? No. Do it for yourself. Remember who you are. As for Marcus, let him think. Show him what he's losing. They sat another hour. Jade's anger returned, healthy, energizing. Chloe was right. Shake things up. Remind herself she was alive, desirable. They parted. Jade walked home.
The city buzzed. Couples, families, runners, everyone happy but her. World cracked. Phone vibrated. Unknown number. Jade, it's Tiffany. We need to talk. Jade stopped, a passerby bumping her. Tiffany had nerve. The Thistle and Bloom Cafe on Elm Street, in 1 hour. Two desires warred: tell her off or meet, say everything without witnesses. "I'll be there," she wrote, regretting instantly. Home, she changed into jeans, white blouse, no battle makeup. Not seducing, settling. Children with Miss Vivian, Jade said errand, rushed out. The cafe was cozy, wooden tables, baked good smell. Tiffany in corner, dark sunglasses despite clouds. Removing them, red eyes. Crying? "Thank you for coming," Tiffany pointed to chair. "Wasn't sure you would." "Wasn't sure either. Curiosity won. What did you want?" Tiffany twisted napkin. Waitress took orders, 2 Americanos. "I wanted to apologize," Tiffany said, voice shaking. "Apologize," Jade sarcastic, "for hunting my husband, the spectacle at your party?" "For all of it." Tiffany looked up, pain in eyes. Jade softened slightly. "I behaved horribly. When I saw Mark, remembered him, kind, attentive, I couldn't help. My marriage fell apart. I was alone, unhappy. He was a life raft. He's married, family, kids. I know, selfish, awful, but feelings don't ask permission." Coffee arrived. They were silent. "And now," Jade asked, "forgiveness or announcing you're taking him?" "I'm backing off," Tiffany met her eyes. "Last night, I thought about what I was doing, who I'd become. I don't want to destroy families. Not that person." Jade disbelieving. "Serious?" "Absolutely." Tiffany showed phone, text to Marcus. "Mark, sorry about last night. We shouldn't see each other. I'm leaving city, new job. Be happy." "Sent half-hour ago." Jade stared, rereading. Simple. Tiffany backing down. "Marriage saved?" "Why?" she asked. "Last night, saw how Mark looked at you when you left. He loves you. Maybe not passionately, but loves. I was nostalgia, escape. If together he'd compare me to you, regrets. Don't want to be runner-up." Words sincere. Tiffany hurting, not manipulating. "Don't know what to say," Jade admitted. "Don't need to. Just know Marcus free. Fight or let go. Between you now. I'm out." Tiffany left money, walked out. Jade sat with cooling coffee, whirlwind thoughts. Should be happy, relieved. Instead, emptiness. No one to blame. Problems remained. If Marcus back, continue as before, until new Tiffany or he left for good. Jade texted Marcus, "Need to see you tonight at Park by Lake where we first met. 7 o'clock. Reply instant. "I'll be there." Home for lunch. Miss Vivian making soup, children watching cartoon. Typical, serene, but inside, Jade churning. "Noah, Skylar, eat," Miss Vivian called. Skylar told cartoon story, Noah silent, sullen. "Mom, when Dad back?" Noah asked. "Soon, work." "You're lying." Noah looked up, grown-up sadness. "You argued. Heard you crying." Miss Vivian paused. Skylar looked between them. "Noah," Jade cautious. "Grown-ups argue, normal." "Not when Dad leaves. Leo's parents did, divorced. You too?" "No," Skylar jumped, tears. "Mom, say no!" Jade hugged her, trembling body. Noah watched, fear in eyes. "I don't know," Jade honest. "But Dad and I love you. That never changes." "But you love each other," Skylar sobbed. Did she love Marcus? By habit, history. Passionate love? Died between pregnancy and mortgage.
Of course, she lied. Tired. Happens to adults. Noah scoffed. Lunch tense. After, children rooms, Miss Vivian kept Jade. What's going on? Marcus confused. Met old acquaintance. Energized. Thinks better with her. Tiffany made a scene. Today backed off. Fool. Miss Vivian curt. Men foolish in 40s. Midlife crisis. Think youth with younger lover. She's 38. Still fool, but you're no better. Me? You turned into gray mouse, stopped caring for yourself, being interesting. All children, house. Man needs woman, not maid doubling as mother. Hurtful. Fair. Jade couldn't object. What do I do? Remember who you are. If fight for husband, fight real. If let go, head high. Don't victim, repulsive. Evening came fast. Jade changed to gray dress, light jacket, left. Told kids store. Lying harder. Park chill. Freshly cut grass scent. Lake glittering in the setting sun. Couples, children. Jade to bench where Marcus first kissed her 15 years ago. He waited, sitting, looking at water. Turned when she sat. Hi, soft. Hi. Silent, listening leaves, water, laughter. Tiffany texted. Marcus began. Leaving. I know. We met. You met? Why? Apologize. Explain backing off. Marcus rubbed face. Don't know what to feel. Should be happy problem solved, but empty. Because she escaped from reality. Now over. Left with what running from? With us, he corrected. With me unhappy with life. Trapped. Then let each other go, Jade heart pounding. Give the freedom you want. Marcus silent, looking at lake. Sunset, water dark. Don't know if want freedom. Afraid missing important. Life passing while stuck routine. Life not passing. Life is routine. Breakfast, school, goodnight kisses. Ordinary days. If no happiness in that, problem is not me or Tiffany, you. Marcus squeezed her hand, fingers tremble. They sat in twilight, talking not kids, bills, but themselves. Fears, dreams, hurts. When met Tiffany, Marcus slow, felt 20 again. Remember me then? Plans, business, travel, writing. Now manager, mortgage, beach once a year. Regret marrying? Children? No. Lost myself. Stopped being Marcus, became dad, husband, provider. Look in mirror, don't recognize myself. Jade understood. Same for her. Dissolved into motherhood, lost herself. Scary thing, lost myself too. Don't know who I am without wife, mother. Afraid life passing. Difference, I didn't look salvation in another's arms. Not fair. Didn't sleep with Tiffany. Didn't kiss. But wanted to. Emotional cheating, conscious choice. Chose to share with her what should with me. Marcus let go. Walked shore. Streetlights on. Yellow glow. Guitar melody. Sad. Fitting. What do we do? He asked. Stop pretending. Admit marriage sick. We're unhappy. Try start over. How? Honestly. Tell fears, dreams, missing.
Find a way be people separate, interests, desires. Maybe find each other. And if not, separate. Honestly, adults. For us, children. Marcus processed, cautious as always. Okay, try. No promise work. No promise. But try for Noah, Skylar. Hugged awkwardly, stiff, but honesty freed from
Pretending. Returned home together. Marcus, bag from car. Children rushed. Joy. Skylar hung neck. Noah nodded. Relief. Miss Vivian peeked, assessing, satisfied. Daddy's staying, Skylar whispered. Staying, Jade confirmed, all together. Evening routines, dinner, movie, bed. Jade stroked Skylar's hair, thinking road ahead. Not one back, agreed try find each other, scarier than inertia. Night, children asleep, Miss Vivian home. They sat kitchen with tea. Notebook between. Jade's idea, write desires, fears, dreams, hurts, clear clutter. Want back to music, Marcus. Played guitar, wrote songs. Remember, dedicated one to me, clumsy, touching. Guitar on balcony, dust, thought throw, couldn't. Don't, get out, play. And I paint, used to, remember? Talented, why stop? No time, kids, house, work, take back, our day. Talked late, writing wishes, Marcus, cook, backpacking, read War and Peace. Jade, dancing, ocean trip without kids, watercolor exhibition. Word by word, rediscovered each other. Beneath years, strangers with dreams afraid voice. Think we'll make it? Jade asked, clocking in 30. Don't know. Want, try, truly. Not kids, supposed to, but us. Jade nodded. Hope, unfurling. Marriage on brink. Lost between bills, meetings, but started looking way back. Not old, but new. That was something.